All right, we stopped here at this verse. Let me begin with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edi vedasyama anistha shrutam me ma prahasihi anenadhitena horatran samdadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Daivyahotara prathama nirinje sapta prikshasa svadhayamadanti ritam shamsanta ritam itta ahu anuvratam vratapa didhyana. I crown the two supreme priests of the invocation. The seven pleasures take their rapture by the self-law of their nature. The truth they express, the truth only they speak, guardians of the law of its action, according to that law they shine. Now, if you read this to anyone with the rational mind only, they will be surprised to see that there is no information here. Because it's like the seven pleasures take their rapture. Now, pleasures can take their rapture by the self-law of their nature. What does it say, really, to the rational mind? So you see that it is an involved world. It is a world in itself already fulfilled by its own activities. And by its own rapture, it enjoys itself, yes, in self, by the self-law of their own nature. It's this is the message. So it builds in us a very strange mentality which looks holistically at everything. The truth they express, the truth only they speak. So the self-involved worlds speak only the truth and express only truth, guardians of the law of its action. According to that law they shine. Yeah, not much of information for the mind to chew on, but there is the whole tapestry of the consciousness. The two heavenly ancient samanas I adhere, and by themselves the seven admixtures of two hemispheres are rejoicing, pointing to the dynamic truth, and indeed the truth they express. The fulfillers, protectors of action, they shine in concentrated effort towards the action. This is my interpretation. I read more literally and kind of want to unfold more. So if you look at the words Daivya Hotara, the divine Hotars, two, this is Vedic dual, long R, not Ao, it should be Daivya Hotarao, yes, in classical Sanskrit. Daivya Hotara, Prathama, the first two divine hotars. Who are these two divine hotars first? Two invokers of all the powers. Two priests of the offering. The word Nirinje, Sri Aurobindo translates I crown. And Nirinje could be also adhere. I put the whole verse here, Nirinj, to reach, attain, overpower, subdue. Range is also interesting to make straight. From here we have Riju. Riju is sincere, straightforward. Yeah? Nirinje in this case could be, I make them inwardly straightforward. I make them inwardly straightforward, the first two divine hotars, two divine priests of the offering, summoners of the gods. Sapta prikshasa svadhayamadanti, seven prikshas, seven admixtures. And priksha is an interesting word in the Veda. It is that which mixes spirit and matter, two hemispheres. From here we have Prishni. There are three mothers. There is Aditi, the transcendental mother. There is Diti, the mother of the lower hemisphere, of the mind, vital, and body. And in between there is third mother, and she is Prishni, cow. So there are three cows, Aditi, Prishni, and Diti. Prishni is mentioned once in a while, here and there, not always. Aditya and Aditya are constantly mentioned because they are total opposites. But this mixture in between of the light of the Supreme into the lower hemisphere, into the darkness, when darkness meets the sun, they create this admixture. Yeah? Now, this mixture is actually our world. And the first admixture is over mind. Over mind is that place where the light of the Supreme Sun, of the Supermind, meets the darkness. And that creates that region of the many-colored life. Interesting that many-colored is actually the word for Prishni. Prishni, cow, is many-colored, the same as Mother says over mind is of many colors. So these seven admixtures, it tells us something of the manifestation by the spirit in matter. Svadhaya madanti, by their own nature, svadha, they madanti, they are intoxicated. They are intoxicated by their own nature. Ritam shamsanta, ritam itta ahu. They point to Rita, to the dynamic truth. These admixtures generate what we know as dynamic truth. Truth can be dynamically in time and space perceived. They point to the dynamic truth, or they express the dynamic truth. Ritam it te ahu, and they speak ahu. The ritam it, indeed the truth. Indeed, this dynamic truth they express, and to the dynamic truth they point. Anuvratam vratapa didhyanah. The guardians, vratapa, the guardians of the law of vrata. Vrata is that which is rotating, repeating itself, which is churning the ocean. So the protectors of this churning, manifesting the divine, anuvratam didhyana, they shine towards or in accordance with the law, with this churning, they shine. It's an amazing kind of way of expressing the truth. And it reminds me of that. You remember we have another group where somebody posted Sri Aurobindo's words on 3 different types of research. And there he mentions that the Vedic rishis had a very different perception of the world. They had a direct connection to the truth. Mother says that Vedic rishis are the evolutionary beings. They bring the truth within themselves. They have a constant connection to the truth. And so they look at the world from this point of view, from the eyes of the truth. We, or as embodied evolutionary beings, we have to build it up through our system, through our physical body, mind, and our vital. We cannot have that perception. So we need to try to express that truth through our instruments, which are always failing and create many false expressions. And so the truth comes to us once in a while, and we try to express it with our false instruments. And we make false assumptions and false expressions. But gradually, we can correct ourselves if we have that aspiration, that flame in us. Yes. So we can correct in accordance with the truth, with dynamic truth, our expressions. Here, we have a direct vision of the Rishi, yes, who sees things differently than we could see. But we learn from him what we are here to discover. So, who are these 2 divine hotars, and why 7 admixtures? 7 levels are Satchitananda, Vijnana, Manas, Prana, and Annam, as you know. So each of them has 7 within them. Most probably it is more complex if you consider the triple supermind Vijnana. Vijnana is triple, and there are 3 godheads in the Veda, and here we see them, Varuna, Mitra, Yaman, Bhaga, and then Daksha, Amsha, and Surya. These 7 Adityas, they represent Surya, the sun. So the sun as the disk, in the physical terms, has 6 disks behind him. Yeah? It's 7 disks, as it were. So Surya has all 7 brothers in him. And these are Varuna is the divine vastness of existence. Mitra is luminosity of his consciousness. Aryaman is his power. Bhaga is his bliss. So what we have here is Sat Chit Tapas Ananda. Yes? And triple supermind, Daksham Shan Surya, we have as the oneness of the supermind, that one in many and many in one. Amsha. Amsha means a portion. A portion implies the oneness, that it is part of something bigger and it is separate from that bigger. So it's both, one in many and many in one. And finally, Surya has the rays which he manifests. And these rays will manifest the multitude of the Supreme. Now, there is one more being who was born the 8th son, and he is Vivasvat. And Vivasvat was born, as you remember, the 8th son. Ugly, Martanda is his name. Dead embryo. He had no limbs, he had no hands, he was kind of distorted in his form. And when Aditya and 7 sons saw him, they withdrew from him. His mother left him be alone. He was lost. Yeah? And then he grew from within and broke into the light. Now, it reminds us also of the Christian story of Lucifer. Yeah? Lucifer is also luminous. Vivasvat means luminous. And Lucifer is the same name, full of light. It is the sun. Actually, it is our sun in the lower hemisphere. It is that sun which is hidden, which was taken by the asuras and was hidden in the inconscient, in the darkness. And from there, from the inconscient, it grows and breaks through. Interesting, there is an interesting hymn where it is described that Agni is rising from Vivasvan. Agni is quintessential to earth, but how it can rise from earth, but how can he rise from Vivasvat if it is our sun? Why rising? Where rising? So it means our sun is involved. So there is uninvolved Surya, sun, and there is involved Vivasvat, sun. Now, and these are seven admixtures. You can see seven transcendental and seven below, which build these seven Dakshamsha and Surya, Vivasvat in this case, build our over mental, triple over mind. Bhaga, Aryaman Mitra, and Varuna, Varuna Mitra, Aryaman Bhaga, they build our triple lower world. Varuna becomes the existence, Sat becomes our matter, material existence. Mitra, Aryaman, becomes our pranic world. Pranic world is double. It connects the physical and mental, and so it has two poles. It's interesting that prana is of double nature. Vayu, pavamana, is of double nature. One foot is on earth, other energy reaches to heaven but cannot reach. The other foot is on heaven, tries to reach earth but cannot reach. And that tension, that energy field which it generates is prana, life world. So it has two constituents. One is Mitra, consciousness, and other is Aryaman, power. And here we see Chit, tapas, or Chit Shakti generates life. We have in the Mahabharata Nakula and Sahadeva, yes, in the same way. Yeah, interesting. One was knowledgeable, other was powerful. Nakula was Mitra, so to say. They were Ashwins, but Ashwins are representatives of the transcendental in life force. Yeah? So these Ashwins, Mitra and Aryaman, Sahadeva was powerful, and Nakula was very clever. So they represent this double nature of our pranic world. And Bhaga, of course, is what belongs to the mind in this case. Or in Sri Aurobindo's other scheme, it belongs to our psychic being. And the mind is the projection of the overmind. Yeah, here. So I will just kind of point to this because I want to address these two avatars. If we see two suns, Surya and Vivasvat, we see two hemispheres, Aditya and Diti, and Prishni in between with admixtures. And now I want to jump to something. Who are these two avatars? And it's quite interesting that the Rishi of the hymn, which I will address today, is from the 10th mandala by Vivasvat, Vivasvan Aditya. By this eighth son, he is the Rishi. He speaks to us about Havirdhane, about two foundations of the offering. These two avatars are having two foundations, two worlds, the Surya, uninvolved divinity, and Vivasvat, involved divinity. So let me project this hymn. Most probably we will not be able to finish everything in one go, but this is the continuation of that we are within the sun, yes? And not outside of it. You remember previous confusing presentation of mine. Now I want to bring more clarity to this. I'm projecting another hymn.
Vladimir, who is the involved divinity and who is the uninvolved divinity?
Yes, Sri Aurobindo has a beautiful work which is called, he wrote it in 30s already after he went into seclusion, which is called Involved and Evolving Godhead.
Vladimir,
Yes,
can I ask you, who
yeah,
is the involved divinity? Is it Surya?
yes, it's Vivasvan,
And the uninvolved divinity?
is Surya.
Who?
Supermind is involved and supermind is uninvolved. Surya as supermind uninvolved, transcendental, and Vivasvat is the involved supermind.
Thank you.
Supermind is evolving out of the inconscient. It evolved first as material manifestation, then as vital forms of life, then as mental formation, and now we are moving towards supramental. On one side, there is something which is rising from below, and on the other side is something which is supporting it. Yeah? So the supermind is from within rising, and supermind is from above supporting this. So these two movements of the divine coming together from above and from below. In this hymn, look at this, Rishi Vivasvan Aditya himself.
Vladimir, Vivasvat is also the current Manu, right? In this Manavanta.
Vaivasvata, yes. Vaivasvata Manvantara, it means belongs to, yes, to Vivasvata.
Okay.
It belongs to him, yes. It has its name. Correct. So Havirdhane, notice, two, dual case, two foundations of the offering. An amazing hymn. I will prepare this file better for you because it's my old file. Yujevam Brahma Purviyam Namo Bhih Vishloka Eto Pathieva Sureh Shranvantu Vishve Amritasya Putra Aye Dhamani Divyani Tasthu. The language is closer to our language, which we know as classical Sanskrit. I yoke with prayer. This is the translation by Griffith and my interpretation. I yoke, maybe I will read only you will read this later. I yoke the ancient word rising in the heart, Yujevam Brahma Purviyam, with the surrenderings to you two, both, to you both, Namo Bhih. May the expression of the word go far into the vastness, Vishloka Etu, as on the path of the luminous Godhead, Pati Eva Sureh, as on the path of the sun. May all the children of immortality hear it, Shrenvantu Vishve Amritasya Putra. We are Amritasya Putra, we are the sons of immortality, who thus abide in the heavenly realms, Ayed Hamani Divyani Tasthu. Yuje, interesting word. I yoke, Vam, you both. Brahma Purviyam, to you both I yoke this Brahma Purviyam, this first expression from the heart. Namobhik, with my surrenderings. Vishloka etu, and this expression should etu, should move vast, pathi eva, on the path of the sun. Shrenvantu Vishve Amritasya Putrach, and may all the sons of immortality hear this. Yeah? Shrenvantu. Aye Dhamani Divyani Tasthu. All those who dwell or stay in the realms divine or heavenly realms. Now, this is my interpretation following it. The phrase Patiye Sureh can be also translated as on the path of the sun. The idea here is that both firmaments of heaven and earth, or of higher and lower hemisphere, which are known as two Havirdhanas, literally two holders of the offering, are yoked through the surrenderings of man with the ancient word emerging in the heart, Brahma Purviya. The ancient word, the ancient aspiration to hold two foundations. It can also suggest that these Havirdhanas can be understood as two suns, involved and uninvolved. See the last verse of the hymn, we will come till the end. Especially if we take into account that the author of this hymn is Vivasvan, Aditya himself involved sun, the supermind, the lord of the sun himself, which is kind of unusual, yes, for the Rishi to be himself the supermind. So here the Lord speaks about himself in terms of double nature, involved and uninvolved. They are both yoked to the word, accompanied by the constant surrender by man, or we can say that by yoking with the help of the word, the aspiration rising from the depth of his being with the descending inspiration from above over the mental nature, Havirdhane, man accomplishes the sacrifice. The word is seen as the original intent of the divine to manifest itself, to manifest himself. Thus, Brihaspati can be understood as Adhyajna here. So these two Havirdhanas are yoked by double surrender to the divine will rising from below and the light coming from above with the help of the heart. And that was the sign of the ancient yoga of transformation, the sacrifice. Interestingly, I didn't read, it will be in the next verse. The power of aspiration rising from the depth of our being, the power of Rudra, whose son is Agni, whose mental energies are Maruts, is to be reinforced and formed by the word rising from the depth of the heart power of Brihaspati, and then only it can reach, or it reaches out to heaven and gets support from above, the power of Vishnu, which is coming down in flashes of lightning of Indra. Thus, Rudra represents the movement of the involved supramental sun from below, transforming nature from within, Vishnu of the uninvolved supramental sun from above, the action of supramental sun from above, descending down into manifestation, and Brihaspati reaching out from within the heart. In fact, there is only one supramental sun viewed differently from below, from within, and from above. Manifestation is kept within. I am not in the world, says Krishna, but the world is in me. We spoke about this extensively. We tried to make sense of it. Now, in this hymn, everything becomes very clear. Yame iva yatamane yat aitam pravambharan manusha devayantah asidatam swam ulokam vidane swasasthe bhavatam indavenach. Suasa, this has to be deconstructed. Suasa sthe Suasasthe bhavatam indavenach. When speeding ye came high, nay, I will not read him, I will read mine. When you two came aspiring, yatamane yad aitam. Yad aitam, when you came, yatamane, aspiring towards each other, as if you were twins, yame iva. Then man seeking manifestation, or seeking or manifesting the divine, Devayantach, this is typical Vedic word, making things divine. Here, Manusha Devayantach, have brought you forward, Pravam Bharan. Approach our sacrifice, Asidatam, you who know your own vaster world, Swam Ulokam Vidane, you both who know your vaster world. Be close to our station, Swasathe Bhavatam, to our offering of delight in Davenach. Now these two are compared with twins. We will also look into Yama and Niyama from this perspective. Yama is in heaven, Yami is on earth. And these are two representatives of the sun action to guide the souls into manifestation, into the embodied state and beyond, into the psychic world. Yeah? They are the traffickers of our movement. Similar here, they are mentioned as two yamas, as twins. Now these two are compared with twins and can be sisters in the feminine gender, both are feminine, or two neutral gender, of neutral gender. As they are mentioned in the first verse, Havirdhane is neutral. Literally means holders of offering, sacrificial containers. The sense of the verse is that these two are remote in their own vast world beyond, but they act as one being, Yameva, as twins. And when they aspiring come closer to our world, men are able to bring them even more forward. Men who seek the divine manifestation, Manusha Devayantach. So there is a direct relation between the aspiration of the two sons from below and from above, and the sacrificial action done by gods seeking man on earth to promote even further their work, which is to manifest the divine in matter. Now we are coming to more interesting two verses which will be kind of puzzling you. Panchapadani rupo anvaroham chatushpadim anvemi anu emi vratena aksharena pratimima etam aksharena pratimima etam ritasya nabhav adhisam punami. Ritasya nabhav aksharena pratimima etam. Yes, one syllable is missing. So, following the five principles, I grew out of earth. Panchapadani rupa anvaroham. I follow her, anu emi, rupa anu emi, or I follow out of her, who has four principles, steps, chatushpadim, four pillars by the law, vratena. It is by the indestructible syllable of the word aksharena that I measured her out, pratimima etam. I am purifying her totally, sampunami, in the navel of the truth, ritasyanabhav adi. Vivasvan, Aditya, the Rishi of this hymn, who is also the supramental sound, speaks about himself as the one who has risen out of earth following fivefold principles of material manifestation, Pancha Mahabhutani possibly, and the four levels of the nature, physical, vital, mental, and supramental, Chatushpadim. You remember we spoke about Dvipat and Chatushpat. This is the evolution of nature in fourfold, as Sri Aurobindo suggests. He has measured out the whole nature by the word and in the navel of the truth, of the dynamic truth. He thus totally purifies her, making her divine. This is the involved supermind. This is his task. This is his mission, to purify her, the divine mother, in the form of nature or physical form, and make her divine. Devebhyah kam avrinita mrityum, prajayai kam amritam navrinita, brihaspatim yajnam akrinvata rishim, priyam yamach tanuvam prarirechit. Yes, for the sake of gods he chose death. Devebhyah kam avrinitam retium. Yes, for the sake of the creatures born in the body, he chose not immortality. Prajayai kam amritam navrinita. He did not choose amritam for the sake of praja. Brihaspati, the Rishi, they made their sacrifice here. Brihaspatim yajnama krinvata rishim. And Yama left his beloved body empty. Priyam yamachtanuvam prarirechit, or vacated his beloved body. Now you see how puzzling it is. Beautiful verse. Eh? Whom did he choose as death for the sake of the gods? Possible translation. And who immortal he chose not for the sake of the creatures? Brihaspati, they made their sacrifice, the Rishi. Yama has left his dear body empty. So the vacating of the beloved body of Yama, the first man who died and found his way back to the origin, is indicative of the beginning of long and tardy process of evolution and transformation of the fallen self by the spirit descending from above. It can also indicate the beginning of creation, where the spirit creates the gap within his own being, which is to be constantly filled or fulfilled by the sacrifice from below and from above. Havirdhane, two foundations of the offering. It's an amazing verse. We can read also Griffiths. He, for God's sake, chose death to be his portion. He chose not for man's good a life eternal. They sacrificed Brihaspati, the Rishi. Yama delivered up his own dear body.
So, Vladimir,
Yeah.
death is therefore of use for both the gods and the mortals.
Yeah, of course. How else? It would not come into existence if it would not be totally of great use.
To
As,
both the gods and the humans.
right. Because the gods have their function. The gods were made for one particular reason, to come down here. But they were, as Mother says, afraid to plunge into the darkness. They refused. So they stayed in their own overmental worlds or higher worlds or whatever, wherever they are. Overmental is the highest for them. And of course, they are born in the supermind, but they are born in the overmind. And they kind of formed, took their bodies in the overmind. And from there, they did not want to come into the inconscient and start the journey. So the Divine Mother had to find another kind of messenger for this. And she found the power of love, yes, of psychic love, which plunged into the darkness, so to say, to redeem the fallen selves. And that is what we are, sparks of that flame. We are the psychic beings here for doing this redemption of the fallen emanations. So that death is interestingly, because now when we are rising in our evolutionary tardy process of evolution, these gods are helping us. They come down to our call, to the flame which is within us. That very flame is calling and bringing them down and sacrificing them here because they do the work here. Now, in this, they couldn't come without the flame being within by themselves, but with the flame within, they can, and the flame within commands them to come down. And in that sense, Mrityu also plays a role here, yes, for them to come down.
Yes.
For the sake of the gods, yes, he chose death to be his portion, for them to come down. He chose not for man's good a life eternal. Why? It's interesting. It will be also can be interpreted that he did not choose his own mukti state beyond, yeah, for the sake of the evolution of man, for man's good.
So
It's
that took a very big sacrifice.
right. The divine chose the mortal life. Can you imagine that? For the sake of evolution of man and rising to immortality, he did not choose immortality immediately because there would be no manifestation. Yes, then he chose this tardy process of evolution of immortality in the mortality. And they sacrificed Brihaspati. Brihaspati is rising from the heart. Vishnu is from above the head. That force which comes from above, uninvolved divinity, which reaches out, what we call the mother's power, Shakti. And Rudra is the flame rising from below, pushing the whole nature towards its evolutionary achievements. And the flame is Rudra's son. And Indra is the action of Vishnu from above. And Agni and Indra, they have to come together. But they come together only with their Brihaspati's help. Brihaspati is framing the flame of Rudra and kind of pointing him, pushing him towards this major intention of joining Indra. And Indra, hearing that intention arising from the depth of the heart, Brahman, is coming down to join. So these three have to join, and that is the fulfillment of the sacrifice or manifestation of the divine in this bubble. Kinship didn't like the word bubble. In this place where the divine is not yet fully manifested. In space and time, if you will. Whom did he choose as death for the sake of the gods, and whom immortal he chose not for the sake of the creatures? Brihaspati, they made their sacrifice. The Rishi, Yama, has left his dear body empty. The vacating of the beloved body of Yama, the first man I read this. Okay, and the last verse, and the most important, most probably. Saptaksharanti Shishave Marutvate Pitre Putrasach Apia Api Avivatan Ritam Apia Vivatan Ritam Ubhe id Asya Ubhayasya Rajata Ubheyatete Ubhayasya Pushyata. The seven flow to the youth on whom the Maruts wait. The sons unto the father brought the sacrifice. Both these are his, and his they are the lords of both. Both toil, belonging unto both, they prosper well. Again, for their reasoning mind, it is like, woof. I will read mine. Seven are they who flow towards a child, a flame child born. You know? He has to be born here, the divine. Seven are they who flow towards a child, who is the Lord of Maruts. Saptaksharanti Shishave Marutvate. As the sons who make the truth dynamic known to their father, Pitre Putrasa Api Avivatan Ritam, they both are his. The lords of these both worlds, Ubhe id Asya, Ubhayasya Rajata, they are both his. The lords of these both worlds, both they aspire or labor. Ubheyatete. You can recognize, yeah, labhete. Ubhe, both, yatete. And of both they grow together. Ubhayasya pushyatah. They both are the lords of both worlds. The transcendental and this world, they both are of his being. The Father is the Lord of the transcendental world, Satchitananda, and the Antaryamin, or Antaratma, his son, is the Lord of this world, the child on whom the Maruts wait. They both labor and both grow through his labor, this labor, because they belong to separate worlds, even though they are of one being. Ubhe id asya. We can also interpret it in this way, where the two lords are seen as the two sons. One is transcendental Surya, Aditya, Savitar, and the other is involved, Vivasvan, Martanda, hidden by the Titans in the darkness of inconscient, from whom Agni is rising as his son, the sparks of which are the souls of men, growing psychic beings, Antaryamin, Antaratma, Chaitya, Purusha. It is with the help of the psychic beings and their growth here in manifestation that the two sons can enlarge their presence and transform the whole nature. If you look at, I can stop here. If you look at even physical nature, just physical embodied state, you will be we find the same correspondence. We have inside the earth, we have the sun, yes? The sun is within the earth. and there is the sun above the head, and we are on the earth, and below there is the burning sun, and above there is a burning sun. This below sun is making our planet alive and gives its energy, warmth, temperature. It is because of that everything can grow on the surface. And above, the sun is supporting this growth from below. Even in the physical nature. Physical nature follows the vision of the spirit. And these are two avatars, two perfect avatars, ancient divine avatars who are calling to one another. Interestingly, in the Vayu Purana or Shiva Purana, I think Vayu Purana, it was said that Shiva was asked, what are you meditating upon? He says, I meditate upon Vishnu. So Shiva, who is the representatives of the sun from below, is longing for the sun above. They are rivalries. In Puranas, they are rival. They are fighting all the time. Yes, 1,000 years they fight, and nobody can win. And so they tired and they say, okay, enough is enough of this fight, and they leave it. So these two sources, they cannot be reconciled so easily. Fight is actually this bringing the light into hemisphere, influencing it, constantly changing, transforming it. So they are kind of a contradiction is within our manifestation. Contradiction makes the base of life, Sri Aurobindo says in Savage. So this is my proof that we are within the sun. Because it is above, it is below, and it is within. So when we go above, we find the sun. When we go below, we find the sun. When we go within, we find the sun, the very sun, supramental sun. Well, it's a very lame kind of proof, but still, our mind operates by these kind of directions. So we are totally safe. This is good news for us. The sun is everywhere. The divine is from all sides. If you have something to say, then want to ask or to reflect, please go ahead. This global vision where there is no up and down, there is no more, yes, then there's no gravity here.
Vladimir, this image that as we sacrifice, both grow in their own separate worlds. Can you throw some light on this, some idea?
Truly speaking, what do you think? What does it mean they grow?
That I just guess it to mean that the gods also grow in their own world, and the material manifestation also grows in its own world, and this takes place through this medium of the sacrifice. Um, and there is no talk here really of the two worlds being being one and the same. It's like almost as if we are supposed to grow in our own world and they are supposed to grow in their own world. And we need not worry too much about what their world is all about. This is the
Yes.
sense I got out of this.
Yes, we use the language which is in time and space. So of course, if we say this is one world, it's my kind of I'm bringing it to the table because there is only one supermind. There are no two superminds. Yes, and if it is evolving from below and it is from above, so how it is even possible, and why Krishna says in this way. There is a beautiful description also in the Gita in chapter 3, the same story, yes? What Shri Krishna says, Sahayajñak praja srishtva, purovacha prajapati. Prajapati created all these worlds together, all these creatures together with sacrifice. Anena prasavishyadhavam. By that you increase, grow. Yeah? Esha vach astu Ishtakamadhok. May this be your cow of desire. That means the fulfiller of all your wishes. Yeah? Sacrifice. Devan bhavayata nena te deva bhavayantovach. Support the gods by this sacrifice, and they will support you in return. Parasparam bhavayantach shreyach param avapsyatha. Supporting each other in this way, you will reach the highest good. This is these Havirdhane, yes, the two foundations, which are constantly in interaction. And this interaction, this sacrifice ongoing, is manifesting someone who is transcendental to the transcendental, who is using this scheme of things, who wants to manifest himself in time and space. It is his device. It is the way how he arranged it to be done. There is no other way for him to come into time and space in the separate bodies and have relations with himself in separate bodies. So everything boils down to that, to his decision, Bahusyam, and then how to make it. This is the way how he made it. He vacated his dear body, as Yama did, for this purpose. All right, we can then stop here for today. It was one verse from there, but I've covered the whole hymn. I will prepare it nicely and will send you this hymn for you to reread. I believe there is more in it than we could see. All right, I will close. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
You.